Day 20 of morning routine suck. Ooh, today I woke up and I'm craving my little salt water mix. Let me show you what I got. First thing I do when I wake up, a friendly microplastic bottle, 16 ounces. And then this used to be Redmond's sea salt or real salt. The Redmond's real salt. I always wondered how sea salt was in Utah, but I guess things were things were a little different. Yeah, so anyway, sea salt coming from Utah. It was the best salt I've ever had in my life, by the way. But I can't afford any more of it, so I just went to the grocery store and probably got some pink Himalayan salt from China and replaced it. But what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take my bottle and we're gonna dump him right in. The main thing with this is just making sure that most of those salt granules dissolve, because so many times I look at the bottom when I'm done drinking and they're still hanging out down there. Man, drinking salt water is not diabolical. It'll keep you from having to pee like 5 or 6 times during the morning. You're really dehydrated when you wake up, so you need the salt. The salt will help you to keep the water inside of your body. Your muscles will hold it so you can use it for performance. But let's drink this down. Man, the salt water is definitely an acquired taste, but after you acquire it, I'm telling you, you're going to start craving it. It's a trip. Out of breath just drinking my water. I think I did 100 push-ups yesterday. Probably going to try that again today. But remember, our whole morning routine is based off of just 3 things that we do every day, regardless, no excuses. First thing we're doing is hydrating with salt or electrolytes. We did that. Second thing we're going to do, come outside, expose ourselves to some sunlight, get some vitamin D production. If it was a little bit brighter, I would try to maybe work out directly in the sun, but it's a little overcast today. And the third thing we're going to do is some kind of small physical activity that's going to get blood flow circulating. We want the blood flow, but we also want the oxygen in that blood to get up into our brains for some mental clarity. This is going to erase any kind of mental fog that we have, from just waking up. Because when we sleep, we're sweating, we're peeing. I probably filled up maybe close to half a gallon of a gallon jug last night just with pee. So when you wake up, probably the worst thing you could possibly do is drink a coffee or an energy drink, because the combination of being dehydrated but putting caffeine into your body first thing in the morning is only going to further dehydrate you, because caffeine will work as a diuretic to help rid the body of water. And if you're already low because you're dehydrated from your sleep, making yourself even more dehydrated is like a surefire way to start your morning off with a headache. And I'm wondering, probably so many people have no idea that just by drinking a 16 ounce, I mean, you could even drink the little 8 ounce, uh, the 8 ounce bottle of water would revolutionize how they feel in the morning. And I was talking to my friend yesterday. I was asking him, was he like a coffee or an energy drink kind of a guy? We were talking about like Starbucks and stuff, and we came to the conclusion that most people, when they go to Starbucks, they're not getting coffee, they're getting a milkshake mixed in with a little bit of coffee at the end. And these like frappuccinos, and I don't even know what all they are. When you look, I mean, we're starting, like, some of these smaller ones start out at like 5 or 6, 700 calories for the small, and then by the time, if you crank it up and get a venti or a Trenta, I mean, my goodness, you're walking diabetes before you even get to work. So, oh man, maybe that's something we should all kind of take into account or just watch. For me, I love just regular black coffee in the morning after I hydrate, of course, or either like a Ghost energy drink. Now, it doesn't have any sugar or really anything in it at all. It's fairly clean, I suppose, is the word that people are using. But all right, I need to quit rambling. It's time to hit these push ups. Man, starting these push ups was like the smartest thing I've ever done. I feel so much better after I get done with them. I mean, it's like a jolt of energy that you're giving yourself. I'm definitely not going to trade them. I probably will start back doing burpees at some point. I hit chest yesterday at the gym too, so my chest was a little sore. Knocking out those push ups is kind of like active recovery. When your muscle is sore and it has lactic acid built up, if you work that muscle again really lightly, the blood flow, not only does it bring oxygen in, but it'll help to push that lactic acid out. That's why when you go get a massage, they tell you to drink a lot of water because they're pushing and releasing a lot of toxins, a lot of lactic acid into the bloodstream, and you need the water in your body to help flush that out. Whew. Bro, hang on just a second. My friend was talking to me the other day, and he kind of wanted to know what I thought was more important, training, like going to the gym, or the actual diet. And really, they're both about equally important, but you've heard the saying, you can't out train a bad diet. I know a lot of people who go to the gym, work out hard, have great physiques, and don't care about what they eat. Now, because they don't care about what they eat, they don't really know. But after talking to them, I can tell you that even though they're eating everything that they want to eat, they're still eating within like their caloric range so that they can either build muscle or lose fat. And they're doing this instinctually, not keeping up with it. But that might not be the case for you. You might need to understand nutrition on a higher level so you can take your body to a higher level. So my friend basically just eats pizza all day, every day. And he's a personal trainer. He works out really, really hard. He's got a fantastic physique, but you can't emulate that. I mean, some people can, but most people are going to see that and think that they can do the same thing. And we've got to remember that we're all different. We've inherited different genetics from our parents. We have different metabolisms. So, in terms of training or nutrition, you should probably get a really good foundational knowledge of both. With training in general, all training programs have to center around progressive overload. I don't care if you're doing really, really low volume, not a whole lot of work, or if you're doing massive amounts of volume. Every workout from this week's workout as opposed to last week's workout. This week's workout, you've got to be doing more in order to show progress. If you're not doing more, your body will never be forced to respond. So last week, if you're curling, you're doing bicep curls and you're using a 100-pound barbell, if you did 8, this week you need to try to get 9 with the 100 pounds. That's one way you can progressively overload. Another way you can do this is by using 110 pounds. Now, you're probably not going to get more reps and more weight at the same workout. So, that 110 pounds, you might only get it 4 or 5 times as opposed to the 8 that you got with the 100 last week, but that's still a form of progressive overload. It doesn't just stop there. You can do the exact same workout, same reps, same weight that you did last week. You can do that same workout this week in less time. So you're doing the same amount of work condensed down, and that too would be an example of progressive overload. And here's another one. If last week you did 5 sets for your chest, and this week you decide to add in another exercise, so now you're going to be doing 6 sets for chest. That is progressive overload. If you don't increase the demand that you're putting on your body, the body will never respond and grow muscle tissue. which is the entire point. And in terms of all training programs, no matter what they are, they have to be built on progressive overload. So don't get caught up, in making it too sciencey. Another thing too is you're going to need to give your workout routine enough time to see if it's actually working. Uh, I would say at least 2 months. That's 8 weeks. If you're not feeling it after 8 weeks, you might want to look into making adjustments. Now, with food, some basic information on food. You all have calories that we have to eat a certain amount of every single day. For me, it's 2,500. Now, if I go significantly more than 2,500 calories for a long enough period of time, I'm going to gain weight. If I have a whole lot of excess calories for a whole lot of time, I'm going to get fat. Same is true for losing weight. 2,500 is my baseline, then I'm going to reduce that, I don't know, 2 to 300 and stay consistent, 2,200, 2,100 for a while. If I don't see any fat loss, I'm going to drop it down a little bit more, maybe a 500 calorie, maybe I'm only eating 2,000 calories a day. But remember, all your calories are broken down into macronutrients, your protein, your carbs, and your fat. And so I eat 200 grams of protein, 200 grams of carbs, 100 grams of fat. How that breaks down to 2,500 calories, for every 1 gram of protein, you have 4 calories. If I'm eating 200 grams of protein, 200 times 4 is 800. Same for carbohydrates. For every 1 gram of carb, you have 4 calories. If I'm eating 200, 200 times 4 is 800. Now, 800 from protein, 800 from carbs, add that together, that's 1,600. Subtract 1,600 off of 2,500, and you've got 900 calories that I'm getting from fat. This is pretty cool. For every 1 gram of fat, you have 9 calories. So if I have 100 grams left, or I have 900 calories left in my diet, that equals out to a perfect 100 grams of fat, because 100 grams of fat times 9 calories is 900 calories that I'm getting from my fat. So when we add the 900 from the fat to the 1,600 from the protein and the carbs, we're at 2,500 calories. This is just basic stuff. Now you can manipulate your diet to get more carbohydrates around your training time. That's cool. But the basics, when you just start there. So if I'm talking and none of this really makes sense, your first move should probably be to determine how many calories you need per day. Now you can get fancy and get some metabolic machine or whatnot, but I would just Google. If you would use ChatGPT, Google, for like 5 minutes, you're gonna get a good ballpark of where to start. I mean, and be honest, tell them your stats. Hey, I'm about 5'10", I'm 230 pounds. I know I'm really fat. Uh, but I need a baseline number that I can start so I can start tracking my calories. And you can start there, and they're probably going to have you around 2,500 calories. When you look on the back of your food labels, it'll always say at the top, caloric requirement percentages are based on a 2,000 calorie a day diet. But most people are eating way in excess of 2,000 calories. So a lot of times just pulling back calories that you don't even realize you're taking in, whether or not you're snacking while you're Netflix binging. I mean, a couple of regular sodas throughout the day, they're going to add up to more calories. Um, yeah, they hide calories, hide in places, especially like your trans fat with like your French fries or your ice creams or something like that. Once you start developing a sense of what a calorie is and how they work, you'll see that they're absolutely everywhere. But that would be my biggest thing: is learn today, figure out how many calories you need, and start, whether you're trying to gain weight or lose weight, start trying to hit that number every day. I use the free version of ChatGPT, track it with a free app like MyFitnessPal, but get a hold of your caloric requirements for the day. And after you learn that, you can manipulate your calories to give yourself the body weight that you want. And then when you learn about protein, carbs, and fat, you'll be able to manipulate those and you'll be able to increase your body composition, which is just going to mean you're going to have more muscle on your body and less fat.